Talk about overrun for a second. So by overrun, we mean a percentage of air in the mix, right? So to do overrun, you put a mini blizzard cup. This isn't exactly right because you want it to be totally full. You weigh it, and we're looking for 6.5. We're spot on, 6.5. Let me show you the chocolate one. Almost 8. So we don't have enough air in that. I'll show you. This is going to be a thing, guys. Our air pump is here, okay? Our air pump is right here. This is part of the air pump system. This could come on at any time, so I'm not going to go crazy touching it. But it pumps up and down. This is not built properly, actually. That may be the problem right there. We turn off power to this side. In order to, so this pump holds 3 volts, and then the whole motor and everything pulls out the front side. I'm sorry, pulls out the back side, this way. So I'll have to, well, let me power it down. So let's revisit this. This is a challenge, it's a Stoelting. Okay, it's a Stoelting Challenger machine, which is a great machine, but there's no interface, right? It's all toggle switches, which I love, except for the fact that it doesn't, I like the unintelligence of this stuff, but let's put it on serve. And you're gonna see orange light, green light, boom, we pull in. All right, that's the compressor. And the beater. So we're running. It's running on amp draw. See, the yellow light just went off, green light went off, cooling pulled out. That tells me that it's sensing the amp draw, and from a consistency perspective, I know it's loud, it thinks the consistency is good, and to be honest, it is. The problem with the consistency now is that there's not enough air in the system. So there's an air rebuild kit, which is what we're going to do. Quite often you discover you don't need an air rebuild kit so much as you need to clean out the air system. But in order to do that, either way, you pull the whole system apart. So if you're going to take it out, just put in a new air optimum to do this during operation. So we dropped the ice cream. Now we're just pumping water through it. We're going to clean this barrel out as best we can. I don't have to actually take the barrel apart, but we just want to, I can't take it apart without pulling this down, and this one's going to stay in use the whole time. So we are just cleaning this barrel as best we can so that I can pull the pump and motor out the back and do the air rebuild. Okay, so I've taken these 4 thumb screws out. We're going to pop this, which quite often you need a screwdriver to put in there and give it a pop carefully. And especially with the hose still in there, okay? So that comes off. Alright. Still that in there. Now, at the moment in time I did this, I took the pressure off the barrel and I allowed it to come backwards, but it's still sitting at the check valve. So we're good. Now, I'm going to take those bolts out the back. There's nuts. There's 1, 2, 3 on the back side, and this whole thing's going to pull out. All right, I'm going to do my best to walk us through this. So, I'm going to have to cut those zip ties so we can undo it. But you're going to undo these 2 from the pressure switch, okay? I have the unit unplugged, completely unplugged right now. If you don't have it unplugged, it's not good enough because this is still, yeah, and then all we have to do is kill this white is being fed from the other. This is a hot 240 or hot 120 all the time. Why you have to unplug it, right? And then it's breaking the leg of power that's running into the pressure switch to give the 240 to the motor. Yeah. So she pumps like this. I just did it to tell you there is a little bit of air coming out, but not much. Okay, so this is set for 4.5, which is about where they want them. I think this is probably just crudded up. So I've seen where you change this whole system, right? But if you don't get in here and look at the air system, you don't realize that you're full of crap. And that's part of your problem. All right, so there you go. Look at that. It actually, I pushed that out. It was like a pill, the whole thing. So. This bottom, top, wait, bottom, top, bottom, top. What? Bottom. I just wanted to circle around real quick. Ironically, I didn't film any of me changing the parts because the owner here is awesome. He's a great dude, but he was just standing beside me, just chopping it up with me the whole time. So, long story short, I don't think this actually needed a pump rebuild. I think it just needed to be cleaned. But I'll be darned if I'm going to take it apart and not replace all this stuff. Because look at it, it is pretty disfigured. When the reed goes on, right, this has to go on a very specific way. And then I have another video, right? Goes in that way. And then there's a plastic cap that goes on the bottom. What had dropped off on the system when I first got here, right? So there's this cap. That goes up through the plug, right? And then the spring goes on, and then there's that little catch that clips on, and then there's a new steel ball. That steel ball wasn't there. So that's why even when it was pumping, the spring had jumped off. So I think it was death by a million cuts. You weren't really getting good pumps. Also, the flow was very obstructed. This owner's also a clean freak, which you might not be able to tell. Like you may throw shade looking at the inside of the machine, but he doesn't get inside the machines, and so he's like devastated. Like, oh my gosh, that's so dirty, and he's in there cleaning it. That's what all this was. He's scraping off that motor assembly while I'm trying to work on it. So anyway, let's get back to the unit. So I've reassembled it. I put the pump back in. I've turned the right side on, so we're working here. So in order to, let's get the light on. So I took this off, okay, because that's the stem. That's the stem that's part of the air pump, right? So this is now all reassembled. And we'll see if I did this properly when I turn on the pump. Yep, she pumps. So what we're gonna do, sanitizer's coming, don't worry. We're gonna turn on the pump, okay? Now we're gonna take this, we're gonna feed it in. The ability to pull the whole machine apart because of this, but we are going to run sanitizer through it. We're going to run water so the water runs clean, which is going to be this whole bucket. Then we're going to run sanitizer through it, and then we're just going to refill it with chocolate, let it freeze down, pull a new overrun. So this is what the pump looks like. Okay, there's a setting right there we can adjust. Right now it's at 4. There's an Allen key hanging in the machine right there, and you can put into that and adjust it. Right now it's locked down at 4. Okay, here's a pro tip. In between sanitizer and mix, you want air. You don't want the mix pushing the sanitizer in because you're going to lose more. So right now we're at got the cradle open. Okay. But what we want is to take this off of the back of the check valve. So this hose is now empty in the line that runs from there up to the top. And then we pull the duct bill out. So this is now empty. So now we're going to screw these together, put them in the mix. And as the mix goes, there's going to be a buffer of air between it and whatever sanitizer is left in that barrel. We're going to push the sanitizer out and have mix with very little loss. Pump on. On mix. There we go. Right, and we're pushing out the sanitizer that's in there. We've talked about this before. Sanitizer makes bubbles, mix does not. So, sorry, somebody texted with the new update that interrupts videos. So you see how we're flowing straight in now? Very little bubbles. Still some. So I'm gonna wait. Boop, boop, boop. All the sanitizer's out. We're making ice cream. We're definitely not there. Ooh, it thinks it is there. I'm pretty sure she's gonna cut off here in a second once we get a yellow light. It's nearing its consistency setting, which it is. Okay, so she's still freezing. We want to wait until we hear it drop out, and then that's going to be the consistency it maintains at. Then we'll grab a mini cup, and we'll pull Overrun again. All right. 6.5, 6 3/4. Yep, she's satisfied again. It's been about 20 minutes. And we're putting out good ice cream. Not too firm. She just fired up. Yep, you'll get the curl out of that. Right, that's what Dairy Queen cares about. Can you put the curl on it?